You're welcome to Kenya Decides Tonight. We're focusing on the media coverage of women in politics and see whether there are hits and misses for the media, particularly in this election. My name is John Jacob Kaberia. We are live on KBC Channel 1 as well as on YouTube, as well as Facebook at KBC Channel 1. The hashtag to use tonight is Kenya Decides 2022. Very much welcome to the program. I have a panel of three, and they're active participants in one way or another, or stakeholders in this election. I have Pamela Mukolwe of DAP Kenya Party running for the senatorial position in Nairobi. You're very much welcome.
Thank you very much.
Judie Kaberia is quite a familiar face. She's a journalist and the executive director the Association of Media Women in Kenya, AMWI. Karibu Judie.
Asante.
And finally, Ruth Mutua, the Agano Party presidential running mate for Higa Mwaore, who is running for president in this election. All of you are welcome.
John.
And for the next 1 hour, let's talk about the participation of women in this election. Starting with you, Pamela, as a candidate in this election, what is the importance of the media in your candidature as run for senator in Nairobi? What do you think is the role of the media?
As a candidate, the role of the media is to give me attention, to ensure that the people know the policies that I want to affect, and to also set the agenda. That's the role of the media in my candidature.
Judie, I'll come back to you in a bit. But Ruth,
Yes.
what role do you think the media will play in your participation in this election as a running mate to a presidential candidate?
I believe they need to broadcast the intention and the purpose why Agano Party is running in this race, to enlighten people, our agenda, our manifesto, and the reason why we need peace. And we are coming in to bring in the change. We are the Badilisha team. Yes.
All right. The convergence of media and politics, even before we talk about, women politicians, the convergence of media and politics. Speak about it.
One of the things I'm really excited, like you can see, for me, my dream in the media and now heading the Association of Media Women in Kenya is to see more women in politics getting coverage. And one of the things that I consider very important is the role of the media in the democratic process, the role of the media in ensuring equality and equity in social spheres of life. And one of the things that I'm really excited about this election is that the gender agenda is on the table. And because of that gender agenda, it's become almost stylish that everyone running for different seats, that's especially the presidency, the gubernatorial seat, you've realized now it's become like the in thing to have a woman as a running mate, which from last year, the Kenya Media Sector Working Group, we made a decision as the media industry in this country to ensure that we do gender mainstreaming by ensuring the voices of the women is being heard, that we don't want to see panels made up of only men talking about politics. And for me, I can say this time is a hats off to the Kenyan media for making the gender agenda a big issue as we move to the 2022 general election. And the media now more than ever understands our role in the even, let's say, conflict sensitive reporting, how we report to ensure there is peace. The environment is very conducive for women to run in an environment that is safe for them, in an environment that celebrates women as not just victims, but also women as leaders, women as people with the potential to lead. So for me today, John, I'm really excited, and also want to congratulate you for creating that table and ensuring that women are not being left out of the debate. This is a kind of relationship that I see in this election. The relationship between the media and the politics now is ensuring that we are not forgetting other aspects that make part of the process of the election.
You give a hats off to the media for the coverage so far in terms of involving women in this participation. Is that where you would want to be? Is it a 90%? Is it 100%?
It's not. We are not where we want to be. But looking at, for example, even female representation in our politics, in 2017, we're talking about 21% of women representation in elective seats. In 2017, we had a 23%, which was a mere 2% increase. And this time, if we look at even the number of the women who have come out to vie for political seats, including the gubernatorial seats, there are so many now. If you look at the senatorial, the same way. If we look at even the MCAs, the number is quite high. And one of the things that I believe has been the platform that has made more women to come out is because the media has opened up the space and has decided to make gender the agenda. You know, in our role as the agenda setting as the media, I think for the first time we've pushed this. And one of the things also we've been trying to do is to highlight challenges that women face. And one of them has been violence against women. And now with, for example, the digital space, threats have increased because the more the women that we have, yes, we're celebrating, but we've seen an increase in, on attacks on women online. We've seen some being body shamed, others, there's a lot of digging into their private lives, others being asked insensitive questions, you know, how will you balance your family and this seat? Questions that are not asked to the men. And because of this, the media has been actively training Association of Media Women in Kenya, including all media associations, Kenya Editors Guild, Kenya Union of Journalists. We've come together to ensure that we are training the journalists, and development partners have also come. As we are talking now, a very big number of journalists are out in the field training journalists, and one of the things that they're training them on is gender-sensitive reporting. That we are not reporting about a woman like a victim or a weaker candidate, but we're looking at a woman as a professional, a woman who has the capability to lead. So I can tell you we've really worked hard, and where I sit now, honestly, I'm a very happy journalist. I'm a very happy executive director of the Association of Media Women in Kenya. I'm a very happy partner of the media because of the work that we've done in pushing the gender agenda forward and looking at all sides of the coin. We are not looking at just the woman, but it's also ensuring the male voices are being heard to support the women in the election.
As a partner to the media, probably let's listen to the candidates in this election. And probably from your end, Pamela, tell us, how have you been covered by the media since you declared your intention to run for senator in Nairobi?
Let me first begin by telling you a story. Last year, we had a training by FIDA, and many women all over Kenya who had come to vie for different political positions. After the training, we came together and we formed a group called Women Aspirants Kenya. These were women who really wanted to vie for political office, and they were serious, and they wanted to encourage each other. Now, from that time, all the women went through nominations, the nominations hurdles, until they all got cleared by IEBC. So right now, there are women who are going to be on the ballot, which gives them at least a 50% chance of being elected. And this was done because women felt that it is their democratic right to not only be elected, but also not only to be as voters, but as in to run for elective office. And that's one thing that I personally encourage as a candidate for other women. The media has played a very big role. During the nominations, we had a lady who got assaulted, and the women got together, and they new candidates, new political candidates never have partnerships with the media.
New candidates?
Yes.
Okay.
They don't have partnerships with the media, or they don't even have relationships with the media because they are new. And so coming together helps them to find contacts and be able to reach out to the media. So when we got together, this lady was able to get help because her story was articulated in the media, and somehow she got reproved because of the legal aspect of it. As a candidate, the media acts, the media is important in giving my candidature attention, as well as my party. And the media helps to helps the electorate to know that I exist in terms of my candidature, and that's why I'm positive about the media. And
your party has gotten quite the attention, the DAP Kenya party. Have you gotten the attention you would deserve or the attention you need as a senatorial candidate in Nairobi?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yes.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
All right. Ruth Mutua, since you were cleared by the IBC, you've actually enjoyed some attention.
Yes.
As I actually saw your story on Sunday.
Yes.
But are you getting, as a candidate now, are you getting the attention you deserve as a running mate in this election from the media?
Well, I wouldn't say it is so much.
Okay.
But I feel like it's leaning towards the popular ones, a little bit more towards the popular ones. So the new kids on the block are not getting as much. But so far, from my analysis, I think it's a try. It's a try where the media probably outgive it 45% for the new people in the block. But maybe for someone else, my opponent, probably is getting slightly more. So I don't think she would answer this question as I am.
Okay.
So far so good. I think there is quite much improvement, but you can do better for the new people.
But a bit of bias on the new.
A little bit biased. Okay. Yeah, just a little bit biased.
All right. Quite an interesting one. 45. She says not much in terms of aiding her bid as a senator. But let's talk about equal allocation of time, because it's a principle of journalism in terms of equal allocation. How are we faring as practitioners in terms of equal allocation of time, if you're balancing between men and women?
Yeah, if we also look at research that has been done previously, of course, where we look at women as sources of news, in Kenya it's less than 35%. Okay. But that was in the past. That was even before we started, the build-up to the 2022 general election. And because of various bodies of research that have emerged, and we've realized the Kenyan media, we had not given that priority to ensure that women are getting covered. And those are some of the interventions we've done. And if you look at, for example, the reporting guidelines for the election that we developed as the media, for the first time we've added the bit of coverage of gender, ensuring that women are allocated enough time. Because before, if you look at, for example, the debate on the BBI and so many others, around that time, you'll watch and see it's only men who are getting coverage. They're the only ones who are talking about it. But nowadays, the media actually has made it like a crisis if you do not have a balanced panel. If you do not have, for example, women occupying even coverage of the front page stories, it's an issue. For example, if you look back, the National Media Group, and even I think the Standard, and even the PD, the local newspapers, they put stories about women on the front page, something that's never happened in the history of Kenya. We are not yet there. I say we are not yet there. But for me, I see a major improvement, considering that I have covered the 2007 general election as a journalist. I've covered 2013 as a journalist. I've covered 2017 as a journalist. This 2022, I'm not a journalist in the field. But I can tell you from that experience of my life as a journalist, I can say we've made very good steps. But also, one of the things that we've been doing, like, for example, at the Association of Media Women in Kenya, the new kids on the block, allow me to use the word kids, but the new politicians who have come, sometimes we've realized they don't have the skills to know how to engage the media effectively. They don't know how to build the partnerships, and they don't know how to grab opportunities. For example, if someone is new and you give them a microphone, some of them will just say, oh, sisi kama wanawake tumekuwa na mashida. You know, for the media, we've moved on to looking for what is newsworthy. So building skills for the new women aspirants is what is very important. We've been doing it at Term Weekend together with Crown Trust, but of course we cannot be able to reach everybody. But I think we need a more supportive system that ensures women aspirants, or even the male aspirants that are coming for the first time on board, that we give them skills on how to engage the media effectively. Because also some of them, we're also struggling. We get airtime in the mainstream media. At Term Week, for example, they say, oh, Judie, can you please nominate a woman to come to the show? So I remember I called one political aspirant. I asked her, can we go for the show after the 9 o'clock news at 9 p.m.? She said, oh, you see, I'm a woman, I can't go. I told her, okay, me, I'm a man, let me go to the show. So we've been trying to tell them to stop thinking about ourselves as women, because it's about competition. It's about the skills. And of course, one of these things also that has made us to work very hard, and one of the things I also want to appreciate the media on, is our role to demand for accountability from the duty bearers. One of the things we've done is to ask the IBC chairman about the two-thirds gender representation. Because remember, the 11th Parliament ended sine die, you know, not saying when they would come to pass the two-thirds gender rule. The 12th Parliament was still illegally in Parliament. Again, they left without passing the constitutional requirement. So the only option left for us in this country is to ensure that IEBC stretches its muscle to ensure that political parties meet the threshold of the two-thirds gender rule. And they've been very strict on that. And parties have been sweating to ensure they try to meet that two-thirds gender rule. But this is because of the pressure that has been employed by the media. I'm saying, yes, we have our own challenges as the media. When you look at the proximity, when you look at what is newsworthy, for example, we are covering a presidency. For now, the presidency is men, you understand? And the more like a newsmaker is known, the more the coverage. So also, as much as we are trying to push the gender agenda forward, we as the media also are guided by a code of ethics. We are also guided by what sells. There are those things that we as the media cannot do away with. But despite those tight schedules or those tight things that make our work difficult, we've really tried our best to ensure that we are bringing more women to be covered in the media. So I know we are not yet there, but I can say we've made some progress, including now the way we've been highlighting the challenges that women have been facing. Those who have faced violence, we've realized anytime someone even says something negative about women, we take it heads on, running. Okay? Yeah.
Becoming sensitive, you know, or conflict sensitive. Pamela, I would want to know from your experience as a candidate in Nairobi, the haggling in Azimio, because, you know, the DAP Kenya party is a constituent party of Azimio. How are you handling the competition in Nairobi? First of all, coming from a constituent party, and Jubilee and ODM have already appeared to have zoned out in Nairobi, and as a woman candidate.
Of course, there are challenges. Basically, as a DAP-K party, we didn't have the zoning agreement, and that's why I'm still on the race. It's been quite a hurdle to jump over those hurdles, but I'm convicted by the fact that our party is gender sensitive, and they support my candidature. Going back to the media in terms of engagement, most women, media usually runs by the mantra, unless it bleeds, then it heals. Right? And actually, that's why we are having the conversation. I would love the possibility of the media just, you know, like following like a woman candidate, as in just, you know, just taking, instead of just following the mantra of unless it bleeds, then it leads, by the sense of when a man bites a dog, it's the story. Then if it's possible that women candidates can just be followed, as in you can tag along women candidates as they go along their campaign trail, then that can really make a difference in ensuring that the electorate actually vote in a woman who can actually bring the change that is needed. Yeah. In
terms of media coverage, because you're running against Edwin Sifuna of ODM, there's Bishop Margaret Wanjiru of UDA party, yourself from DAP Kenya party, and I'm sure there are other parties that have candidates. How do you think you have been covered yourself as a senatorial candidate in Nairobi?
Actually, definitely I've had zero coverage.
Zero coverage?
Yes.
Okay.
To be exact. Until now. This is when I'm really having.
Have had zero coverage?
My party is new.
Okay.
I come from a new party, and as a new senatorial candidate, new to media engagement, that's why I've had that kind of like a zero coverage. That's why.
All right. Ruth,
yes.
You're the running mate for Mr. Maure Wahiga,
Yes.
Wakili.
Yes.
What is the risk of you shadowing Wahiga Maure, in the sense that most of the coverage will go to Wahiga, and not so many people will consider the fact that you are the running mate, and in one way or another shaping the agenda of Agano party?
Are you meaning he will overshadow, or I will overshadow?
What is the risk of you shadowing him, in the sense that you will not get as much coverage?
I don't think there's any risk. I don't think we are at a level one is a risk to the other, because we are not competing.
Okay.
We are in the race together. We are in to bring balance. So there's no competition for us. Yes.
Would you be okay if, and sorry to ask, would you be fine if the only stories we covered about Agano party was just about Wahiga Maure, the candidate, and not where the running mate was?
Of course, just a little bit. Of course, because the woman is not represented. So why is he being put in the limelight and being shadowed behind? I want to be in the gap for the woman to see there's someone who is here. There's someone who is coming to fight for us. No, I'm coming to badilisha maneno.
You have answered my question.
Yes.
Judie, why do you think, when we talk about, because we were talking about equal allocation of time in this election, of you've given the media quite a score, but we are not there. But in this election, why do you think we still have an equal allocation of time between male and female candidates, having come all that way?
We cannot have an equal allocation of time. Like you realize, the media, sometimes you just have to use the rule that we normally use. For example, if there are too many candidates, we try to check, like, you know, what sells. You know, also we have our own pressures, revenue pressures, we have following pressures, we have audiences pressures. So those are some of the competing interests that override. As much as we want to allocate equal time, it is very difficult for us to allocate equal time to everyone. For example, Johnson Sakaja has gotten a lot of coverage, you understand? Because of what is happening around him is making news for the day. So we cannot try to balance the coverage you are giving Sakaja, for example, to the coverage you are giving another person. So there are those issues that come. There's something that you consider as newsworthiness, and those are some of the things that make it difficult for us to give everybody equal coverage. But talking about my sister here, she said up to now she's not received coverage. You've received coverage. Yesterday,
she's on the panel.
She's on the panel. She's received coverage. And I know she was invited here because of the engagement we had yesterday. Yesterday we had an engagement with the Kenya Editors Guild and FIDA, Federation of Women Lawyers in Kenya. And it was basically an engagement about how the media has been covering women. And from that, we had a meeting with journalists, and that's how KBC discovered her and invited her to the show. And that's why we've been encouraging female candidates. As much as we are striving as the media to give them coverage, them too have to struggle. Let me give you classic examples of some of the things that we've been telling women. And we've even produced videos telling the women candidates on what to do. You're a journalist, you walk out here, you just want to do vox pops, basically random questions. You stop the women, they'll start running away from the microphone. Or you ask them, come to the show, they'll start giving you excuses. Like me, I was about to like, these nails, I need to go. But I'm like, I've been telling women, you have to go. Don't say you are going to make your hair. Don't say you are going to make the nails. Because the man don't say that. When the man gets a chance to go to the studio, whether they're ready or not, whether they're from the bar, they'll just come straight to the studio. But the women, we are so sensitive about some things that really don't matter so much. It's just basically just combing your hair or doing something and freshening up and getting ready for the show. So also on their part, we've been having engagements with our female candidates, especially the newer ones that are coming, and telling them, please be always ready. The men are always ready. And because the men are always ready, sometimes you are pressed for the time. For example, it's a live coverage event of Parliament. You have no time to go begging someone or to go waiting for someone to apply lipstick or makeup. There is time on your side. So we've been trying to also empower them with these skills to make them understand how the media works, the media landscape, tell them about that it's not that maybe some of them, like, they are launching their candidature and they think it's the most important thing that is happening in the world of Kenya today. And they call even with that authority, why are you not here and I'm launching my party? You understand? So there is no guarantee, or there is no entitlement that just because you're a woman and you are pushing the agenda that will get coverage. You have to strive to become a newsmaker. You have to strive to be able to sell ideas that are interesting to the people. You have to be attractive through the media. As much as we are doing this, also we want to see the effort on their part. We in the media, we've made our efforts. And one of the things that I forgot to mention to you earlier on, for the first time in Kenya, we have more than 60% of journalists covering elections for the first time. They never covered any other election before. So a lot of things that are happening to them now are new experiences. And that's why the media sector has gone massive on the training. And this training has actually incorporated the gender agenda, gender-sensitive reporting, about violence, conflict-sensitive reporting, with special, place for the women. And talking about following women. For example, we've been even telling the women, if you're told to go and interview, let's say, for example, Mother Karua, also we've been trained the journalists, don't meet Mother Karua and start asking her, what challenges are you facing? Karua now is someone who's gone above challenges.
Yes.
So even the questions, the training of our journalists has to be, when you meet Mother Karua, you ask about, something different. For example, if you go to maybe northern Kenya, some parts of northern Kenya where there's clanism, where there's cultural issues, you can still ask that question of challenge. So even the training for the media has really been going on. Some have been being done in-house training for the journalists covering elections. So honestly, yes, I know we are not yet there. I'm not saying we are 100% gender. We still have some gaps. But for me, I'm really looking forward post August 9th just to see how many women are going to make it, because I am pretty sure that's 3% of women representation we had in parliament. I pray that it is going to be over 30% the coming election. Yeah.
Ruth, societal biases against a woman, knowing too well that even media men and women also come from the society. Do you think it plays a role in how the media covers women candidates?
It could be yes and no. And pointing out just a bit from what she has said, is it that the lady is not informed that maybe her lipstick is not important before her media coverage comes in? Just maybe. Maybe we also do not know. Okay. And maybe because of the upbringing.
Particularly for the newcomers, right?
Yes, maybe the newcomers. Maybe the newcomers. I don't know about the old team, but maybe the newcomers are also coming with energy. Yeah. They're coming with a different face. So maybe we also need, or they also need, to be taught. They need to be trained. Let them know that an opportunity comes up for media, run. Just deal with what you have, run. The men in there could be knowing. They could be mentoring each other. But maybe the ladies also, we need also mentorship. We need also to be mentored in there so that we stop missing these opportunities.
And where does this mentorship, when you talk about mentorship,
yes,
who do you target in terms of mentoring you?
The advanced, the experienced out there. She could run such a program. Call the caliber of women who may need to be enlightened, and the branch grows. Yes, into a big tree, and the ladies get informed. When this opportunity comes, we are trying to create balance on media too. Ladies, be ready.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Just on that point she's building. For journalists, especially female journalists, we have mentorship. We have mentorship that, like, there's one we've just been doing with the US Embassy. We've been mentoring university students in third and fourth year from public universities on what to do when they join the newsroom. They're already ready. They understand how the newsroom works. They understand the challenges they are going to face. For me, the challenge has been, it's not for us to do the mentorship for the politicians. The ones who've made it, our Mother Karua, our Ngilu, the women who've made it, what are they passing to the younger generation of politicians that are coming up? This is a challenge to the politicians. For me, it's crossed my mind that they need to mentor younger generations. But of course, we've had a few success stories. For example, Lesuda. Lesuda has always spoken about how Leshomo mentored her. So this is the kind of mentorship that we need, that at least the female politicians who have made it can pick a few of them. They can even decide, let me talk to so-and-so, she's promising, or so-and-so. So that's when they come also, they have some of these survival tactics of how to deal with the media, or even how to maneuver the political industry, because even when you get to those political positions, it's a war zone. You have to fight to pass the bills, you have to fight to pass the motions, you have to fight for the budgets. So there's a lot of mentorship that is required among women politicians in this country. The media, for us, we can train or help you on how to engage the media effectively. But in terms of giving the political lessons, I have zero knowledge on how politics runs, so I cannot be able to
on the mentorship
and
required.
And you see the way she's like very confident in engaging. It's because she has the experience, she has the she's had the you know, she's had the time. Most women don't have that. So when you come before the media, lights, camera, your mind goes off.
Freeze.
You freeze. Like totally for me, I freeze.
Okay.
Totally, to be honest.
But it's always a first time.
But she was very tensed when we came. But there's always a starting. And she's done very well, honestly. And so those building of skills that we ensure that we empower them on how to engage the media before they start being shocked by the media. You know, some of them even speak and say things, and before they find themselves saying things that they didn't know how they'll appear. So that training for me is very important. But you're doing well. I mean, she's excellent, right?
Absolutely. So we take a breather. When you come back, Judie, we'll handle that question of societal biases vis-a-vis how the media is, you know, handling women politician stories, and whether there is a bit of it being captured in the reports they're doing daily about how these ladies are doing their campaigns. We're taking a breather. Don't go too far. Kenya Decides is still home. We are on Facebook, Twitter, as well as on YouTube, and of course on air on every platform available. Continue watching. We're coming back in a minute. Welcome back. You're watching Kenya Decides. Our conversation tonight is on the coverage of media when it comes to women politicians, and particularly this election and how we are faring comparing to other election cycles that we've had before. And, you know, before we took a break, we wanted to dissect the whole aspect of societal biases vis-a-vis how the media is reporting on women politicians. Judie, do you think the societal biases have an influence on how we report or tell stories about women politicians?
Yes, actually, if I remember when we began the debate about the two, that's gender role, it became like the two-woman role. Even ourselves as a journalist, we had an engagement with a journalist, and actually the men were asking, why should we be dishing out, you know, seats to the women? So even definition of gender itself was a big issue. Gender in Kenya for a long time has been translated to mean two, that's women rule. That already gave us a very big challenge. So, and this is, and then that part of dishing out, you know, it looks like women, they're just big, nikupewa too, you know, like they are weak, like they cannot fight for themselves. So because of also that belief or a societal inclination that makes the woman look weak, has made it, even up to now, there are people who don't believe a woman can actually lead. We are struggling with a society where up to now, you'll be shocked that people are asking, what will she be doing with the men instead of being at home, you know? I was even shocked people asking about Mother Karua and, you know, family issues. For example, she's grown up, she has grown up kids. Maybe at least we can complain about us, the younger people with the young kids. But her, she's already like, not like babysitting anybody.
She's actually a grandmother.
Yeah, so she's already like someone who has a lot of time to offer leadership. So you'll still realize people bringing out these issues about, you know, the personal lives about the people. And they're not even asking the same things about the men. So we've still seen that cultural belief of the woman still doesn't deserve a leadership position. That a woman still has to, you know, be told what to do and that she cannot be able to lead. We've also seen some areas, for example, if you find some parts northeastern of Kenya, like one of the women was telling us she wanted to go register as a voter. but her husband refused to give her her national ID. So we had to tell her, now you have to go and report to the chief. When she went to the chief initially was like, you have to listen to what your husband is saying. So if you come across some of these cases, you can still see our cultural beliefs, our social norms are still withholding us back from ensuring that we are supporting women. But of course, we've seen progress in some of these areas where, for example, we will never hear a woman running for candidacy. Now we can hear women even in those areas where women are not allowed to lead. We've seen them being allowed to take up the leadership position. So then the patriarchal society that we live in, we've still seen women being branded and being given some names, and sometimes it gets to also the media. Unconsciously, we pick what we are living with, and there are those some of the derogatory terms that are used. Unafikiria kama mama. Wewe unaendesha gari kama mama. We take it casually. If you listen, for example, to our FM stations, and that's why we are saying, everyone, if you have a role to provide credible information, then we cannot fall into what the society discusses. And we've seen a lot of radio stations fall for these small derogatory terms that still undermine the women. And if a man is doing well, or even a woman, if she's doing very well, to sasema, hey, bazoo, we call her the name of a man because she's doing well. So those small things that we have normalized unknowingly with the media start falling into the same trap. It's the same way that you even start asking. You see a journalist up to now will be asking Mother Karua or Anwar Guru, or even Gilu, how will you balance family life, family and the political life? But when they go to interview the man, they won't ask. It's like men are not supposed to be people taking care of also their families. So I know some of the times, the journalists, we have a challenge in, distinguishing ourselves from what is discussed, socially, just because of the way we've grown up in that patriarchal society that still, and that's why I'm saying we will not achieve the 100% that we want. There are those things that hold us back from achieving that.
You actually remind me of one paper, I think 2 years ago, that said, I don't know which cabinet secretary it was, but said the only man in Uhuru's cabinet, and it was the lady they were referring to, the only man in Uhuru's cabinet. It was
Mother Karua.
And like what we were discussing when we were off air, women should be made to know that they've been passing the baton to themselves. Like, you're not the 10-year-old, you're not the 20-year-old, as in it's a growth process. Just like Judie was telling us, even when she became a journalist, it's been a growth process from the person when she began up to now. She's gone through hurdles. So for first-timers, as in new candidates, women politicians, they should know that they don't have to be perfect to come on air. They just need to know at least the basics, which is good, to show up.
When you look at media coverage, yourself as a candidate, what do you think is that missing link between your candidature, for example, in Nairobi, and how the media is covering it? What do you think is the missing link?
I think basically it's more of the whole campaign, the whole campaign management, and the lack of synergy in the parties in terms of everybody coming on board, every candidate coming on board as Azimio. Okay. Because Azimio is made up of different parties, and all these different parties have candidates who are supposed to come on stage, who are supposed to be in the same venue when they have like events in Nairobi. So the disconnect maybe is in the communication or whatever it is, and the involvement of candidates. Okay. Yes.
That's quite interesting. It's a quite interesting point.
Also, like she's mentioned about starting. For example, if you look at the seat she's running for, Senator, Margaret Wanjiru has been there before. So she has the skin, the game in her skin. So she knows what to do. She knows how to get coverage because she's been there longer. So you'll realize some of them, because of the experience they have, and which experience you are asking them, how do they ensure they're not leaving a big gap. You know, even you in your role where you are, I hope you're also mentoring somebody. So whatever we are doing and whatever we are doing, we always have to ensure we are mentoring somebody. So I think also the fact that, for example, Margaret Wanjiru, the reason why she's likely to get more coverage, for example, than her is because like her, she's come after her. So those are also some of the things that make some candidates to get more coverage than others. And there's some things that, honestly, our hands as the media are tied.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The space, the operating spaces.
I want to add something.
Okay.
I think the media is also tied a bit with culture. Just a bit.
Okay.
Because we have been having the men in the scene all this time. So we don't feel like the woman still has a place in governance. And I want to tell the men out there, empowerment is not weakness. We have young children. We have been released. I have a family and young children, but someone else is seeing what I am having and has accepted to release me. So I think there's also culture. There's that culture that the media needs to accept that we are changing into a different arena. Let us also put the ladies in the limelight. Things are changing. Yes.
When you talk about the political operating space within political parties, because sometimes media deals with the people the political parties are presenting to the media, probably for engagement. In terms of the operational space within political parties by women, is there space within political parties?
There is lots of space. But biasness, the biasness of media and what to broadcast brings the whole lot of a difference.
Okay.
Yes, so
it is raw end. The problem is
I believe you people have the machinery. I can't even broadcast myself. I can only broadcast myself on Facebook.
So what if your political party does not give you the space to do that?
Agano does.
Okay.
I will remove Agano from that list. Agano is giving me the space, and that's why I am here. So Agano is out of that list. We are in here to badilisha things.
Okay.
Yes.
Judie, I see you shaking you.
I totally disagree, honestly. If you look at the reason, you know, for the first time, even the presidential candidates have made it fashionable to have women as running mates. Even in gubernatorial, those running for governors, you realize it's either the woman running for the governor and then the running mate is a woman. For example, look at Meru County. In fact, in Meru County, I'm so proud of the running mate there. Her husband is always by her side, posting things and saying that, you know, I'm supporting her. So you can see there's also a bit of change in our society. The society has started releasing the women to go and also play a role, because if we look at, for example, nowadays in our households, you can't say it's the man who provides alone. All of us are working. So all of us have an equal share in the family. Like, okay, not an equal share per se, but all of us have a responsibility to contribute to the family. Life is so difficult. You cannot continue saying the woman stays in the house, take care of the children, and then the man only gets the money. We've seen instances where the men are fired. Maybe it's even the woman who is the breadwinner of the family. So because of these things that have taken place, we've also seen a cultural shift of how we treat the woman. We've seen a lot of men, husbands, release their women to go and vie for political seats. So there's that change. But for the media, honestly, we've come from far. We've come from far. If we look at all the other years, this time, honestly, I'm very proud of what the media has done. And because of what you've done, just realize the other day, UDA, remember, they also said they asked media houses to send female journalists to cover. Of course, it was not it's not upon their money to decide who covers them. But you can see, because of the narrative that the media has driven, the agenda that the media has taken, it's become fashionable that you have to prioritize issues of women. And were it not that the media has been at the forefront pushing for that equal representation of the women, the politicians wouldn't care. And at the same time, we've seen politicians also holding meetings where they are still demeaning or disparaging some women just because of maybe their families and all that. So these things are still there, but the media has been taking these things hands-on. We've been correcting them. And even we've established special desks for elections and to look at those specific issues. The violations against women candidates. So I can tell you for sure, even the monitoring that we are doing, Association of Media Women in Kenya, we've even gone to the extent of doing research on online violence against female political aspirants. Just the other day, we received even a video clip of a young lady who was running for MCA. She's 26 years old. And this video clip was saying the only thing we can do for her is rape her, but not give her votes. And we picked it up, we flagged it off, and because, okay, she left. She apparently said she doesn't want to vote because she was very shocked by what she saw. But you see, we in the media are able to flag these issues, report and condemn them. We are not just passively covering the elections, but we are part of the process, picking these issues and talking about them.
Pamela, I'm asking that because some of these big political parties, like you're saying, UDA, ODM, ANC, have very strong woman league organizations within those parties. But the only time this leadership is fronted by the parties to come to media houses is only when there's a woman agenda to be spoken about. It's like the Women League is not that strong enough to argue about other national issues except the gender agenda.
Well, our party is new. DAP-K party is a very new party, so I would not be able to speak for ODM. Do you have a women UDA. We do have a Women League. Okay. And but what happens when women issues? Okay. I'm trying to collect myself, really. Okay. I can't speak for UDA or ODM. I can only speak about DAP-K. And DAP-K, we have a Women League, and we have women aspirants who are also running in other capacities. We have women who are running as MCAs also, as well as, they're running as MCAs and also senators. So it's not only when we have like women issues that we get to come and discuss. I think we're going to have new, as in we're going to bring fresh ideas in terms of ensuring that women participation is encouraged. For example, your DAP Kenya party, sorry to cut you short. Yes.
What has your party done to empower you as a candidate in Nairobi, a woman candidate for that matter?
My party gave me the ticket to run for the senatorial seat. My party encouraged me to go through the IBC process. My party supports me in terms of in my campaigns. That's
how does it support you in your campaigns?
We have MPs, we have fellow candidates who are running for various positions as MCAs and members of parliament in the county. So we give each other support.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm asking that question, Ruth, because there's a question of visibility. Space is there in the media, but what are women candidates doing to be visible, to be seen, to be newsmakers? Because just being a woman, it's a plus, and we're reporting about it. But that's not the only issue that we'll capture in the news. What are women candidates doing to be seen, to be heard?
By grabbing such opportunities. Yes, you invite, we attend. I was not planning not to attend. Yes, I needed to come in here and show that the lady is coming in to take up the 2/3 gender rule. I'm coming to take up the responsibility of changing the capacity of the lady in the executive. Yes.
Judie, is it a problem of resources? Or what exactly is it? Because when it comes to issues of visibility, you are sure that men are more visible than women candidates?
Yes, there's an issue of visibility and an issue of insufficient resources, especially for women candidates. So there are those things that, of course, limit them. But like you said, we are dropping the book of lamentation as women. We are not being given microphones to say we don't kill a son, shida, pana. We want to get that space and say, what dreams do we have? What is the vision that we have when we get into that leadership? Yes, we are not refusing to say that we are facing challenges, but we face so many challenges. And some of those challenges that women up to date face, even in terms of inheritance, land inheritance, It's still a big issue. Up to now, as much as the laws have been passed, that the provisions are there, we have a lot of structural and procedural incapacities within our system that still makes the woman not to get what they should get rightfully. If you go again to ownership of land, maybe you need a title deed to get a loan to run for a political seat. So because of also not having that financial muscle, political parties will most likely pick up candidates with a financial muscle that will be valuable in terms of finances to the party, as opposed to, you know, someone who is coming on board without the finances. And so because of that, again, the cultural things that we are talking, the cultural biases that we have, that we believe maybe women should not own property, or we believe women should earn less, which even we are experiencing in our newsrooms. If we look at the pay gap in our newsrooms again, you'll see the pay gap. Sometimes men, okay, sorry, it's not you, but I'm saying it's still an issue. So if we look at all those gaps and things that make a woman, when you look at her, you're like, she's likely to get married, or she has a husband, she'll be taken care of, so let us pay her less money. So this system continues all the way, and even as she's running for the seat, she doesn't have those finances to maybe hire the choppers, maybe get a fleet of cars to go after them, maybe hire bodyguards and goons to go and shout. So the woman is still disadvantaged and is still facing a lot of challenges when you talk about them being able to support their campaigns and being able to increase that visibility. Because to get that attention of the media, you really need the clamor around you. You really need the drama around you so that you attract the media. So a lot of women up to now are still struggling financially to get that that attention of the media. So you are very right. Finances is still one of the things that women have reported are affecting their campaigns. Some of them will even maybe do one campaign in a month, or even no campaign at all, because they don't have the money to do that. So there are those challenges that they still continue to face, and we in the media, I'm happy that we've been able to highlight that. But also we've been, like we've also been training them on how to use the digital space. For example, if you are not able to access or get the attention of the mainstream media, we've started showing some of them how you can just use your phone and start recording video clips of what you are doing. The problem with like the initial group that we had, they were there saying, oh, you know, the usual cliche, tuko na shida. So we're telling them, now you have to, when you go maybe on that TikTok or YouTube, you have to give us a message. What are you going to do for the people? Because also the women, they don't understand also their position sometimes in politics. You realize they think they're the dancers to entertain the crowd, or they're the people, you know, say, Wamama, you know, woye. So we've also been telling them to position themselves in their parties, that when they are given a chance, they talk about what they are going to do. And even some of them have always been mobilizers for the longest time. But this time, at least they are accepting also to move forward and actively participate at the top level of politics, and not just talking about only women issues, but also talking about issues that affect our society. The budget, the financial status, the health status. So even women are not just talking about gender issues, but are also talking about other issues that affect the people. Yeah. I
have at least like about 6 minutes before we wind up, and it's important I hear from the candidates. Starting with you, Pamela. What does a Pamela Ateka candidacy mean for Nairobi? What do you intend to fix in Nairobi? This is part of media coverage.
A Pamela Ateka candidacy means proper service delivery for Nairobi residents. It means sustainable water and garbage collection. It means empowerment for women and youth. And I would request that on the 9th of August, that you would get up early and vote for me, Pamela Ateka. That will be a vote for change, and a vote for fresh blood, and a vote for every Nairobian, because every Nairobian matters.
Every Nairobian matters. Ruth, why should we elect President Wahiga Mwaure and Deputy President Ruth Musheru Mutua?
For some reasons that I will mention. That one, I am coming to set in and implement a law on property, ladies' properties. We're having the notion of ladies losing properties. Once their husbands are deceased, we have every right to own property. Why do I become past once my spouse has rested. So I will come and help him to implement that. I want to come and implement the laws on gender violence so that we are able to deal with that in each and every county. So that let us get some gender balance in all of us. I want to create space for women. Our ladies needed to speak. We need to speak ourselves out. We need to have, like she had mentioned, why is a lady HOD and a lady and a man HOD not earning the same, whereas the lady is even more educated? We need to give the gender balance. I'm coming in to push in for such priority for the lady. Yes. And that is why I ask the Kenyans to vote for David Mwaure Wahiga, and I'm sitting in, and I shall sit in as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya from the 9th after voting in. And please let us retain peace. We are here for change. But Delisha, it starts with you and me accepting to make the change. Thank you.
Judie, you have the last one. Something very interesting here. Somebody says, I think the media coverage is attracted, candidates must, or is attracted, or media coverage is attracted. Media, or candidates must make deliberate effort to engage the media, especially if you're a first-time candidate on a new party. No more, no less. Deliberate engagement. Are we to that level? Have we gotten to that level where even newcomers can deliberately engage the media as we wind up?
We are not entirely there, but we are getting there, and that's why I'm hoping let this vibrancy not end now. Let it continue, and let also the newcomers in the block understand that to build their candidacy or to build their popularity starts way before. It starts like if you're planning to vie in 2027. After the election, start doing something. So that when you already start, we already know you because of something that you've been doing. So it's a continuous process. It's not a one-time event. And building media relationship require a lot of engagement. It requires the skill and the knowledge to know how the media covers. The media is very responsible, very committed to ensuring that you play our role to ensure there is a free democratic election that calls for equal representation of both gender. Yes.
And of course, you can have numbers of several journalists from several media houses. Anytime you have something, you can always alert them for coverage.
Don't be biased. Don't be biased when I and the Azimio running mate call you for coverage. Don't be biased.
Okay.
Yeah, first come, first serve basis.
Ruth Wangeshi, the MCA for Kinyona in Muranga, says these women are really strong leaders. I appreciate their courage. And thank you all for turning up. We wish you all the best, Ruth. We wish you all the best, Pamela. Of course, all the best, Judie, as you continue to empower women in media as well as the capacity building in media houses as we look towards the next general election. Thank you all for coming. That's all we had for Kenya Decides. Have yourself a fantastic night. See you around. God bless.